Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Well, let's talk about vaccines because we've got a pretty big statement here from China's director of the Chinese Center of Disease Control. That's China's top disease control official. Speaking to media, said that scientists around the world are discussing vaccine efficacy. And he offered a scientific vision. He said that in order to improve vaccine efficacy, you might have to adjust the way vaccination procedures are done. Interestingly also, he said that you could mix different types of vaccines to boost efficacy.
Well, they're saying, or he's saying, the director of the Chinese Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, he said on Saturday that giving people doses of different vaccines is one way to improve vaccines that don't have very high rates of protection. He said that without specifying whether he was referring to foreign or domestic vaccines. But he did say that inoculation using vaccines of different technical lines is being considered. And he said that taking steps to optimize the vaccine process, including changing the number of doses and also the length of time between doses, was a definite solution to efficacy issues. Now, 2 injections of a vaccine developed by China's Sinovac biotech, when given shorter than 3 weeks apart, was found to be 49.1% effective based on data from a phase 3 trial in Brazil. That is below the 50% threshold set by the World Health Organization, according to a paper published by Brazilian researchers on Sunday ahead of peer review. But data from a small subgroup showed that the efficacy rate increased to 62.3% when the doses were given at intervals of 3 weeks and longer. So the overall efficacy rate for the vaccine was slightly above 50% in the trial, as opposed to the 49.1% when given shorter than the 3 weeks apart. So this is what's been going on right now. But China has developed 4 domestic vaccines so far, approved for public use, and a 5th for smaller scale emergency use as well. And an official said on Saturday that the country will likely produce 3 billion doses by the end of this year.
It's slightly worrying, isn't it? But there's no efficacy data of Sinopharm's vaccine that has been made publicly by the developer Beijing Biological Products Institute. And they said the vaccine was 79.34% effective, very precise figure, in preventing people from developing the disease based on interim data. It has been approved and widely used in countries such as China, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates. Sinovac's vaccine has showed varied efficacy readings of between 50.65% and 83.5% based on trials from Brazil, Turkey, and Indonesia. The Chinese-made vaccines have always had strong demands from many developing countries, which have limited shots or access to shots made by the Western drug makers, for example. But in general terms, the general public who are out and about, who are getting the vaccinations, we trusted what the Ministry of Health and Prevention is saying, and we continue to do so. And the latest information that I gathered was when I was on board the flight, the fully vaccinated flight, and I met Dr. Farida Al-Khaja from DHA, in fact, and she was also part of the Crisis Control Center for the Emirate. And she told me that we have 90% vaccination rate, which is really good in terms of the eligible people getting vaccinated, and that the Sinopharm has been quite effective. And she pointed out the figure was above 90% in its efficacy in protecting you. Should you contract the virus, despite getting those 2 vaccine doses, you will receive a mild infection, or you will have an asymptomatic infection. So from what I gathered from that statement is, if you don't protect yourself, if you don't follow the necessary protocols, there are chances that you might contract the virus. And despite having the vaccine, because the vaccines are there as added arsenal to your defense systems. But to what extent does it guarantee that you don't have an infection? That's what medical personnel to decide. We're not here to decide that. But that's what it appears.
Certainly. And if anything, vaccines typically mitigate the outcomes from a COVID-19 infection and alleviate symptoms or reduce their severity. More statements from Gao Fu, the head of the China CDC. He spoke about scientific problems to be studied when it comes to vaccinations and said there's still a lot we need to figure out. He said that all vaccination procedures that have been adopted around the world so far are based on previous extrapolations of other virus vaccine drives. And that extrapolation has worked well so far, but he said in the future, if we need to make improvements, we can make adjustments based on the characteristics of the novel coronavirus and the vaccination situation. He said scientists all over the world have developed vaccines within a few months, but many scientific questions need to be addressed. Regardless, he said the benefits of vaccinations far outweigh the risks. He said vaccines have to be used fairly, and the world should share vaccines, because if the world doesn't do that, the virus will share the world, he said.
Yeah, and looking at the number of cases rising across the globe as well. India recording new wave of cases being recorded in the country. Oman specifically, let's focus on Oman, right next to us. 3,544 new COVID-19 infections. 29 more people had died yesterday as a result of COVID-19. And that record or number comes 24 hours before the start of the new lockdown. And they're saying that in the past 24 hours, 105 people with coronavirus have been admitted to the hospitals. And Oman will start their nighttime lockdown on the first day of Ramadan from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Now, despite what the situation is, these measures will last for the entire month of Ramadan. So it just goes to show that the reality is still there. The virus has not left us. And sadly, another news that we did hear yesterday was on Twitter. Fareed Zakaria from CNN, he announced that his mum had passed away because of COVID-19 complications. So it just goes to show how serious the matter is. And it's important to make sure that we don't loosen our guard. We don't think, okay, that we don't have intense restrictions as we had last Ramadan, that we let loose and do whatever we fancy doing. Still have to protect ourselves, protect our surroundings, and keep our distance and play our part in being apart. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. Up next, we continue the discussions and we talk about the big drama from last week. It was in Jordan, but the two figures who were involved in that big public rift have appeared. What's happening? All of this will be discussed right here on the Morning Majlis.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Well, two of the world's largest electric vehicle battery manufacturers have reached a settlement that President Joe Biden from the United States called a, quote, win for American workers and the American auto industry. The companies SK Innovation and LG Chem have been involved in a dispute after LG accused SK of misappropriating trade secrets. LG in turn filed a complaint with the U.S. International Trade Commission in 2019, and the commission ruled in favor of LG, putting a 10-year ban on SK import. But now it's been settled. SK agreed to pay $1.8 billion in cash and royalties to LG in this settlement, and both South Korean-based companies agreed not to sue each other for the next 10 years. This deal came just hours before a deadline in which Biden would have needed to decide to overrule the ITC or let the ruling stand and potentially lose jobs and resources that could help him reach his electric vehicle goal for the United States. So this should have pretty big implications for that industry in the United States.
Absolutely, Ahmed. And also in a joint statement from the CEO of SK and the CEO of LG Energy, they said that we have decided to settle and to compete in an amicable way, all for the future of the U.S. and South Korean electric vehicle battery industries. Now, the companies did pledge to work together to strengthen the EV or the electric vehicle battery supply chain in the U.S. and also support the Biden administration's efforts to advance clean energy policies, including electric vehicles. Now, the U.S. International Trade Commission had decided back in February that SK stole 22 trade secrets from LG Energy and that SK should be barred from importing, making, or selling batteries in the U.S. for 10 years. But that decision could have left Ford and Volkswagen as well scrambling for batteries as they both roll out additional electric vehicle models, which is a priority for the companies and also for the Biden administration. So now SK has contracts to make batteries for an electric Ford F-150 pickup truck and an electric Volkswagen SUV as well.
Imagine that, an F-150. Shout out to Umar Al-Douri. He's a big fan of that vehicle. And imagine if that pickup truck, electric powered pickup truck. Incredible. I think that would be my big purchase if I'd like to get it. If it's affordable, then yeah, why not? But I think one big thing with this is that electric vehicles will become, to an extent, a norm. Because you know how we say it, if America sneezes, the world catches the flu.
Oh, yeah.
If America catches a new trend, the world will start following it. And we've known American cars, yes, they can be quite comfortable to drive, but then could be quite expensive to maintain. But now with an electric option, it'll be great because American cars do tend to be slightly more affordable than their German counterparts when it comes to luxury vehicles and even the Japanese luxury vehicle side. So this could literally be a major breakthrough. Yeah. So the one thing that is this news is going to send is certain nerves and goosebumps to the world of Teslas because they're reigning at the top at the moment, being the elitist of the elite. But when the new players join the market, what's going to be the impact of it? That's going to be very interesting to see.
Definitely.
Let's not forget, I feel like their prices are going to be much less than a Tesla.
Oh, sure.
So people will definitely go for them. So
yeah.
Tesla will be probably in hot water.
Oh, for sure. I think one challenge, though, is for mass adoption of electric vehicles. They did a study in the United States and said that if you're going to go entirely electric with cars by 2035, you're going to need 26 million new charging outlets installed in homes and apartment buildings over the next decade. That's going to require $39 billion in investment. So the convenience factor is reportedly going to be a big hurdle for electric vehicles. Yes, a lot of people are early adopters and they think it's pretty cool to drive an electric vehicle now, but there are still big issues here with charging options. Just having those everywhere you need them to be. Having one in your private garage too, that's expensive. Right now it costs reportedly between $1,000 and $2,500. So for a lot of people, that's not the most convenient yet. But if we get to a point where there are plenty of charging stations, things might change a bit.
Add that to your seawall bill. Imagine that. Oh, charging your entire car. That could be quite intense. Considering the cost of petrol and running the regular maintenance of the vehicle, it could even out.
Compensate.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's also good for the
environment.
The greater good for the environment. Yes, and I've got plans of driving down to Kalba later on, and then the fuel guzzling green mobile will be with me. So I don't know how much fuel I'll burn in that, but let's see if it's economically friendly to cruise down the new roads of Kalba and head on to that beautiful city. Really looking forward to that. So now, to picture, to visualize this city, to visualize the experience that city has to offer, we are going to be talking to Mariam Al-Qaidi, who is the manager at the Kalba Conservation Center, up next on the program. So just after the news headlines, the sports news rather, we'll have that big discussion. So if you're a big fan of conservation and checking out new destinations, this centre is something worth exploring. We'll be back again on the Morning Majlis, so do stay tuned to Pulse 95.
Entertainment headlines.
Entertainment headlines.
Entertainment headlines.
This is The Buzz.
Yes, this is The Buzz, and we're talking about the 74th British Academy Film and Television Arts, or BAFTA, of this year. And it took place actually on April 10th and 11th in the United Kingdom in Royal Albert Hall. And we had a lot of winners. Basically, the drama Nomadland, it led among films with 4 wins, including Best Film. This was like a big win for them. But one win that really struck our attention was a Palestinian-British filmmaker, Farah Nabulsi's short film. It's called The Present. And it has won the award for Best Short Film at the 2021 BAFTA this year.
Yeah, and that's been the talk here, the diversity of the nominees and winners here at the BAFTA. We're talking about the Palestinian-British filmmaker Farah Nabulsi's short film, The Present, winning the award for Best Short Film at the 2021 BAFTAs. Her movie beat out Eyelash, Lizard, Lucky Break, and Curvy. The movie tells the story of Yusuf, played by renowned Palestinian actor Saleh Bakri, and his daughter Yasmin, played by young actress Mariam Kanj, and it is set out in Palestine's West Bank, where he buys his wife a gift. We're also looking at other diverse nominees. Nomadland, that movie is one to watch out for. Chloe Zhao's elegiac drama about the life of aging van dwellers in America has won 4 awards at the BAFTA Awards, including Best Film. So look out for this in the Oscars. It's going to be a front runner as well. We've also seen other nominees. We've got Anthony Hopkins becoming the oldest ever male acting winner as well.
Oh yes, definitely deserves it. I'm sure it was the movie The Father, because his acting in that movie was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
It was just amazing.
A great movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Present, it's a film that was filmed over a span of 6 days, from what we understand, in the Palestinian territory. She said Nabulsi spoke to local media and said that the film is about human dignity and the importance of dignity, and in what means for someone to continuously be dehumanized. It has been nominated in the live action short category for the Oscars, and the winners for that will be announced on Sunday, April 25 as well. And what an exciting time it was for the director, Farah Nabulsi, and she accepted the award for the Best British Short Film for The Present during the 74th annual BAFTAs. Well, stay with us on the Morning Majlis. In fact, stay with us on Pulse 95, because we shall be heading off at the moment, letting you enjoy the wonderful the more wonderful musical entertainment we have to offer as we ring in the Ramadan celebrations here on Pulse 95. We'll be back again tomorrow morning.
We will be
at 8 a.m.
At 8, yeah. Instead of 7, and Ramadan timings, it's changed for us as well, not just for the private sector. So we're gonna be coming in at 8 until 10 during the month of Ramadan, the morning Majlis, that is. But everything else is going to stay the same. We're still going to be uploading our conversations on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, the audio conversations, that you can catch them after the show. And also, you will be able to watch us on YouTube. If you didn't catch us live on YouTube on the Pulse 95 radio channel, you can still do so, because we'll be uploading our videos and our talks on Pulse 95 Radio. Just type in Morning Majlis and subscribe, share, and like.
That's right. Thank you all for tuning in to today's show. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we look forward to sharing great moments from this holy month with you. And we'd like to wish you all a Ramadan Kareem. And stay tuned to Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.